Hello and welcome to New Earth Lifestyles. I'm Janee King, your host of the show. It's a beautiful day here in downtown Manchester, New Hampshire, April 17th, 2014. Thank you for joining me today. We'll be talking about clarity and balance on today's show. So thanks for being with me. I wanted to send out a thank you also to Manchester TV for this beautiful studio and the ability to come here and access you through Community Access TV. And thank you to John Eric O'Neill for being my technical director today and all the setup and taking care of the technical stuff. Thank you, John. So my singing bowl is with me, sacred bowl. Have a little gong on that. Reminding us to breathe. Breathing. Breathing is a very important part of clarity. And why do we want clarity, you may ask? We will be getting into that. I'll be delving into being clear. What does it mean to be clear, and why would you want to be clear? Do you need to be clear? Do you need clarity? Breathing, I do need. Breathing is important. Breathing in and breathing out. The sacred breath, oxygen that is given to us freely every moment of our lives, from the first breath when we come out of our mother's womb to our last breath when we leave this physical body. Breathing. We take it for granted sometimes, don't we? I know I do. We forget. We think, it's an automatic response. Our body is designed to take care of our breathing, so why would we even care to think about breathing? So from that perspective, and breathing as a step moving into how to become clear, breathing, when we do it intentionally, deepens our connection to ourselves. When a baby is born, a baby automatically takes a deep breath. And if you ever watch a newborn breathe, you'll notice that they're breathing from their belly, from their diaphragm. They're breathing all the way down, and their belly rises and falls with every breath. That is called diaphragmatic breathing. That's what we were born to do, or how we were born to breathe. That's how the body, the physiology of our body, is meant to breathe. However, how many of us actually do expand our diaphragm and our belly when we breathe? So try that. Well, try breathing all the way down into your belly. And breathing all the way out, emptying all that space. So is that a new experience for you? Do you do that often? Do you breathe that way normally, naturally, just as a daily way that you breathe? So just sort of checking in with how you breathe. Where does your breath, how far down into your lungs or into your chest, into your physical body, does your breath go when you just sort of breathe in and breathe out without consciously becoming or thinking about it or trying to breathe in a specific way? How do you breathe? How do you naturally breathe? Some people breathe so shallow they breathe from here, up and down, up and down, up and down, from your upper chest, from your upper lungs. Some people breathe from their lower lungs and it goes right by the upper lungs. And a few people do breathe diaphragmatically that have been trained, or say people that run or jog or do physical exercise or play an instrument, a wind instrument. People that do these activities naturally build up a capacity to expand the lungs all the way down to the diaphragm, because they're needing a larger volume of oxygen. And so If you're not in those categories of being an athlete or a wind instrument player or a yoga person or an intentional breather of any type, chances are that through the years after being born and going through your childhood and coming into your adult years, you have learned or forgotten or you have stopped breathing diaphragmatically like you did as a baby. And what happens there? What happens and what stops you from breathing fully? Well, stress, trauma. Someone yells in the other room when you're a child, when you're an infant and you can't protect yourself. You learn to hold your breath. Or there's some type of anxiety in your family life that causes you to constrict and hold, not necessarily consciously, but as a small child, dependent on others for your safety, that becomes an automatic response of a type of defense mechanism to stop breathing and to listen and to hold the breath. And so this is an opportunity for you, the viewer, and for me also to remind myself to think about how you breathe on a moment-to-moment basis, and perhaps bring breathing back into your life as an opportunity to expand into a clearer place. And clarity, what is clarity and why is it tied to the breath? Is it tied to the breath? What has the breath got to do with being clear? And why do we want to be clear? From my perspective, from the way I've lived my life and brought my life to this point, to this moment, being clear is very important for me to know what I'm going to do next. For me to acknowledge whether this is what I want to do or that is what I want to do. Becoming clear is a way of accepting the path that I'm on, the direction that I'm going, and saying, yes, that's where I want to go, or making a choice, I don't want to go this way. I would rather go the other way because I'm clear that that is going to bring me to where I want to go. Simple as that. Simple as that. Life can be really, really simple if we simply let it. And so let's gong on simplicity. Whoopsie. Remember to breathe. And you may notice that on my mallet, my singing bowl mallet, I have covered it with this little felt thing so that it will be soft, because I wanted to protect the wood from getting all dinged up. And as Tanji told us when she came here with her singing bowls, that makes a difference in the tone. And if you want the bowl to sing, you would use the wooden part. And listen to the clarity of the sound. So clarity can come in different aspects. The clarity of sound. Listening to the clear sound of the singing bowl, which resonates with the song of your heart. Maybe you hear some overtones with that. Is an overtone part of the clarity? Or is it making it not clear? So these are all questions, aren't they? What is clarity? Do I want clarity? Why do I want clarity? Does clarity bring me balance? How does clarity bring me balance, if it does, or maybe it doesn't? Do I need balance? What is balance? So this weekend, the reason I'm discussing these things, clarity and balance, is because I will be speaking on the subject on Saturday at a Healing Spirit Expo, which will be held at the Holiday Inn in Enfield, Connecticut. And a few weeks ago, I had Wendy Burchell here, who is the organizer and creator of that event. and she asked me to come down and speak, and I will be speaking on clarity brings balance, and how does that? And so I thought I'd warm myself up by coming and talking today about clarity. What is clarity? How do we bring clarity into our lives? So one way we've been speaking about is breathing. And what does breathing do? It helps us to open our body to and expand and contract our body to bring in the information that we're looking to understand, perhaps if we're not understanding something. What is your reason for being here? What is your reason? What makes you happy? Are you happy? What will help you to be happier? Those are things that you might want to become clear about. And I did bring one of my a couple of toys to look at today, and that is crystals, quartz crystals, which can become very clear, like glass. And quartz crystals grew on the earth over millennia, over a long time, and created a crystalline form that looks very much like glass. And so if you were to connect in with a crystal and a look at a crystal, they call that scrying. If you had a crystal ball, I don't have a crystal ball today, but if you had a crystal ball and you were to set it in front of you and you were to scry with it, which means you were to gaze into it, it can bring you to other dimensions and give you clarity if you happen to have a question. Or sometimes you may come to someone that has a crystal ball that does scrying for you, which would then help you to answer some questions by what? By becoming clear through the crystal, by getting information from this crystal that is a living being. It's actually a living being. We're all living beings. I believe everything on this earth is a living being, and crystals have grown and do grow on the earth, and we then take them from their caves or from their places of growing and break them off or cut them off and then distribute them and use them for energy, just as you may have a quartz crystal watch, time movement, energy. It's put in your watch to keep time, for the energy of it, and also it's a steady beat. It's clear. It's a clear, steady energy cell, and I believe computers are also using quartz crystals for energy. So here I have a quartz crystal that I brought, and if you will notice, it has 6 sides, 6 faces they call them. So here is one face. Let's see. There we go. There is a face, there is a face, there is a face, there is another face, there is a face, and back to the original face. Now, this crystal is not totally clear, but it is very clear in portions of it. And as you move it, you can look at different growths or different aspects on the inside of the crystal that may have messages for you if you were to, as I say, gaze into it. If you were to look into this crystal for a long period of time, like we said, scrying, then this crystal could actually help you. If you asked it a question, it could help you to answer the question. It could help you to become clear. Becoming clear with more, receiving information, you could say, from the ethers. Now, the apex or the tip of the crystal is pointing up and can connect you to higher realms through this apex. And there are, again, usually 6 angled sides to the crystal that see if I can show that to you. I don't know if you can really see it on the camera, but there's 6 sides even to the pyramid or the apex going to the tip. The tip is the apex or the top. And energy can flow through this crystal, and it's used for many things. You can also use this for healing, which would be to hold it like a wand and intend that clear energy is emitted from this apex into the person that you're working with or the animal that you're working with for a healing, to bring healing into them. And so, and what I was going to say about the inside of this crystal, there is spirit, or there are growths inside the crystal, and you can see many dimensions when you look at it. And look at this, the interior of the ghosts, or the inclusions they're called. And these ghosts or these inclusions can also help you to become clear by staring at them or taking time to really look at them and just soften your gaze and spend some time, say, sort of daydreaming into the crystal with an intention, with a question, with something that you're looking for an answer for. So these crystals can be very helpful in bringing clarity into your life if you have a question or something that you want to know that will help you go into a direction that you don't know which direction to take. A crystal such as this can really be of benefit to you. Now, I also have another crystal here, which is not quite as clear. I'll just move that one aside. And this one has a facet. If you see this facet right here, this is called a future life facet. And it's, let's see, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I guess it is a sixth. It's actually got a future life and a past life facet. So it's got these facets, or these faces. So it's got a face on this side and a face over on this side, which is in the lower portion of this face, which if you were to put your finger here and meditate on that particular facet, you could actually get in touch with a past life. So there you can see it a little bit better there. And on the other side, this side over here, this is, actually that's the past. This is a future life. I'm sorry. This is the future life facet. And over on this side is a past life facet. So I don't know if you really can't quite get the image of it. But crystals have many different... Okay. It is okay. Crystals have many uses. So connecting in with past lives, connecting in with future lives, connecting in with this lifetime. They have lots of times you can see things along these faces. If there are horizontal ridges, like right here, you have a little bit of horizontal ridging that could be Lemurian. That could connect you back to the time of Lemuria, which is way back before Atlantis. If you look at certain angles, like there's some more Lemurian lines on the face of it there. I can't trying to get the light so you can see it, but they're horizontal lines that go up the and if you were to meditate on those, hold those in your hand, and you could be taken back to Lemuria and actually get some information from that period of history if you'd like to. Another thing you can look at on a face of a crystal for clarity, there's some more Lemurian lines there. I don't know, maybe you can see them. Look at that. And sometimes Atlantean connection, which this crystal I don't see on it anywhere, but on one of these faces, or this face even, the main face, if you put it in a certain light, you can see tiny little pyramids, tiny triangles, tiny little triangles all over the face. And if you were to look at it in a certain angle of the light, you could, and if you see those pyramids there, that is those pyramids are energetic connections to Atlantis, and they can help you if you want to learn about your history or any past life you might have had in Atlantis. Taking a crystal that has pyramids, they're really tiny pyramids, and you have to hold the crystal like I'm holding it in a certain light, so that you can actually see the growth inside the crystal of those. Of that memory. It's actually a memory of that period of time that the crystal holds, and it can actually take you back to those time periods. So those are the crystals of some things you can do with crystals to open you up, to connect. And these are just some small examples that I'm expressing to you. There are many, many, infinite things you can do with crystals to ask questions and become clear. And why? So why do you want to become clear? Well, when we're born, as I was going back to when we're when your first breath. If you go back to your first breath, and you think about the purity of a baby, the purity so clean and so fresh coming through with no preconceived ideas, with no defense mechanism or none of this psychological ego stuff that we have, although we do come through with some predetermined characterology or personality, of course. However, when you look at a newborn baby, it is so fresh and so clean, and it's like a blank slate. You can think of it as a blank slate, and they have so much to teach us when they come through. If you were just to spend time with small children that haven't been imprinted with societal ways, and really young children, 1 year old, 2 year old, or newborns, you can really feel, it's palpable how clear they are, how unmuddled with life, unmuddled with memories, unmuddled with all the stuff that we live through from the moment we're born up through our lifetimes and up to however old you happen to be. There's a lot of stuff that we go through that kind of gloms onto us. It shrouds us, it clouds us, and keeps us from being truly a happy person and the person that we truly can be or are deep inside and underneath all of that. So that's why, if you think about clarity, I got to slow down again. If you think about clarity, why do you want clarity? Well, all of this history, though it's important because it's giving you your wisdom, it's giving you your experiences in life, it can be overpowering and overshadowing and holding you back from being and becoming and experiencing who you truly are, or where you want to go, or what you want to do or be in your life. And so by using some of these tools like the crystals or like breathing and helping you to let go of some of those things, slow down, and slow down even more, and be okay with slowing down, then you can slowly, perhaps, if you desire, release some of these life experiences. And there is a reason we go through a lot of these life experiences, from my perspective. Some people don't think there's a reason, but I really do believe that molds us and helps us and directs us in our life. When you bump up against a wall, you have something happen in your life, and it's like bumping up against a wall, and then you have to stop, and you have to do whatever you have to do to readjust, to change your direction, or figure out how to go through the wall, or go over the wall, or under the wall, or turn around, go back. And so these things that come into our lives have a reason for us to learn who we are, while at the same time they do muddle us and help and shroud us and cloud us up with experiences that now, as we grow older, we may want to become clear of, so that we can be more balanced, so that we can have a healthy physiology, a healthy body, so that we can have a healthy mind, a clear mind, so we can think. Especially now, as I'm aging, and as we age, we think about the mind and the thought process becoming slower, and all this, whatever happens to the cells, becoming more rigid or less flaccid, less soft, and having a lower abilities to be clear, a lower ability to think clearly. Well, this may or may not be, but that's another reason to think about, or to work through, or to bring practices into your life to become clear, to become clearer thinking. So become clearer physically, to become clearer thinking, and emotionally becoming clearer. Because our emotions, which a lot of them have been developed, or we have, emotions, or we're born with emotions as a heart and feelings. However, we learn how to use them as we grow into our lives, as we experience society, experience our family of origin, experience our caregivers and our teachers and so forth, and we learn how to use those emotions or express those emotions based on our environment and what they do for us as far as having our needs met or not met. And as we come into our wisdom years, like me, becoming a little older, for me, I'm looking at my emotions as a map, as an opportunity to understand, well, what triggers that emotion, and do I want that trigger to then flood my system with all the corticosteroids of the fight or flight syndrome, or do I want those emotions to help me to be happy and feel better about myself and enjoy life? And which ones do I need? Is there a need for that? And so that's why I'm looking at clarity as bringing balance into my life or into your life, to help me to look at my emotions and look at my knee-jerk responses to life and realize I can make a choice. You can make a choice about how you react emotionally or feeling-wise to a specific event or specific circumstance. For instance, say that someone you really care about, or say that you just had your hair done, okay? You just had your hair done and you think, well, my hair looks really nice. You look at yourself in the mirror, my hair looks really nice, doesn't it, today? And then you go in the other room and whoever's in the other room says, oh, what happened to your hair? Wow. So you have a choice. What happened to your hair? Or, oh, my hair feels really good today. I love my hair today. Or, what happened to your hair? How come your hair looks terrible? Okay, so there's two sides to the coin, isn't there? Two sides to the coin, and how you can react to that. You can either, and there's not an either or really, but you can, I'm going to put it in either or because that's where we're going to go in the moment, of being very devastated and small and that really hurt, and like I used to do when I was a real introvert, shy and afraid of people, and really paying attention to what people said to me and thinking it was a truth. So you can buy into what someone says to you about your hair being terrible. What you do to your hair? It looks terrible. You can buy into that as the truth, or you can realize they're having a bad day. Maybe their hair doesn't look too good. Maybe they are having a bad hair day. And they're projecting that onto you. And you have a choice. You have a choice of saying that it's true and reacting as if it's true and being, whatever that would be for you, cringing and becoming smaller and wishing your hair is better. Or you can realize, my hair's beautiful. My hair's great just the way it is. I love my hair just the way it is. And whatever this person, no matter who they are, no matter what you think of them and what relationship you have with them, you do not have to accept what they say as your truth. Can you feel how empowering that is? Can you feel how clear that helps you to become with the fact that you love your hair or whatever you are doing with your body or in your life or whatever's happening in the moment? So you have that choice of believing what they say to you or absolutely not believing what they say to you. And when you don't buy into something that someone's saying to you, if it's a negative thing that's coming toward you, and you stay in this, I love my hair just the way it is. I'm sorry that you don't like it, but I do. And I'm going to keep doing it like this because it makes me feel good. And when you do that, not only does it make you feel good and help you to stay clear and help you to stay aligned to what makes you happy, it can change the other person. It can change them because the energy they sent to you will not land will not land on you, and you will not respond to that in the way that they're expecting you to. Perhaps they're expecting you to scream back at them and say, "Why can you say a thing like that to me?" Perhaps they're saying that to you because they're knowing your triggers, and they want to trigger you to receive the energy back that you normally give to them, which is not necessarily pleasant. But people that you live your life with, we learn each other's buttons, don't we? We learn all the different ways that we can get reactions from our partners, or from our caregivers, or from our family, or from our friends, and a lot of that is subconscious. It's not conscious. It's not like this person really wanted to tell you how lousy your hair was. Maybe that's a habitual way that this person is. Maybe this is just a cranky person that's always feeling lousy and doesn't like their own hair, and has no concept of any other way of being other than pointing fingers at people and saying what they don't like, complaining about everything, and pointing fingers and judging everyone around them. And maybe that's because they don't like themselves. Maybe that's, that can be pretty sad, that they're always putting their attention on someone else so that no one will look at them, so no one will see what's going on with them. Could that be? Could that be that when someone's jabbing you, when someone's doing something painful to you, when someone's hurting you with their words, that they're really in pain? They're really in emotional pain, and they're covering up and hiding their pain by sending it toward you. And we have a choice. We can accept that as reality and react to it, or we can not accept it as reality and come from what we are living in reality, what we're feeling about ourselves, what we are feeling without buying into the energy that's sent to us. And that moves to another point about people that are kind of energy vampires, you could say. And these are people that do precisely those things. They project things onto us so that they can then suck our energy. They can then, because it puts you in a defensive mode, or it might make you want to give back to them something. Give back to them. What can I do with my hair that will make you like me? How can I change this so that you like me? How can I change this so you will pay attention to me and feel good about me? Even though I already feel good about myself, I just come out and realize I love my hair, and this person's giving me this song and dance about my hair. And so, choices. If we slow down and breathe and become clear about who we are, what makes us happy, why we are here, and all myriad of other life things, we can live from a place that actually will be healing for another. Because if that situation comes to fruition where I love my hair and I come out and this person complains about my hair, what do you do to your hair? How come you don't do this to it? How come you don't pull it back? Whatever. If I don't buy into that, I don't get sucked in, because that's kind of a way of sucking energy, isn't it? Pointing the finger and then they expect to pull energy back from you. If I don't buy into that, I have all that energy for myself that I might have sent to them by responding in a way that they're looking for. But if I stay with myself, I stay clear, I stay grounded, I love my hair the way it is. I do not accept what someone else is judging me as or saying about me. I do not accept it because I don't feel that way about myself. I know myself. I learn to know myself. I'm becoming clearer and clearer about who I am. And as I become clearer, I stand my ground. I am aligned to who I am. And whatever the negative comment is that someone might be sending at me, it's not true in my field, in my body, in my mind, in my heart. It's not true about me from my perspective. So where does that energy go? Right by. It does not affect me. It goes right by me. It goes right around me. And why is that? because I'm not buying in. I'm not meeting that energy where it wants to be. I'm meeting that energy with a higher level energy, so that energy cannot penetrate me. It'll go down, it'll go up, it'll go to the side, it'll go away. I'm clear about who I am. I stand in my truth. I love my hair just the way it is. You don't. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you don't, but I'm not changing myself to please you, when in fact, in reality, it could be that you don't like your own hair, or you don't like something about yourself, and you project it onto someone else so that you can then suck their energy or do whatever. So that's a good example of becoming clear and why it is so important to become clear. And once, or as you become clear, because to me, clarity of life, becoming clear about who you are, is a lifelong process. It's a lifelong journey. As I have said many times on this show, I was an accountant and an introvert. I still am an introvert and accountant, I suppose. I do still do some accounting work on the side. So I am still doing those things. However, I am much clearer and balanced in my life now, as I've learned to stay in my truth, to stay in my power, to stay aligned to who I know that I am, so that when people inadvertently, whether they're intentional or not intentional, when people send words to me that I could feel as judgments or swords or hurts, I am learning to not accept them as swords or hurt. I am learning to not allow the words to hurt me. Why? Because I'm becoming clearer about who I am, and when I do that, I know that the words are coming from a person that is in pain, and they're sending hurtful words out because they don't know that they're in pain, or they don't accept that they're in pain, or they don't know what they're doing. Even if you think someone is really hurting you intentionally, that could be. There is an intention there to hurt someone. However, you do not have to take that on. But and then continuing on with that, you can also not only not take that on, but have an open-hearted compassion for that person, for the pain that they're in, even if they're intentionally wanting to hurt you with their words. They are in a lot of pain. They are digging a hole for themselves that is very deep and dark. If you can have compassion, if you can let that clarity of light that you have received, that you have opened up to, that balance of who you are, to open your heart and express in a feeling way, open your heart to them and simply allow them to feel your heart and to say, I'm sorry that you're in such pain. I'm sorry that you have to be this way. I'm sorry that you don't or you can't see the truth. Or I'm sorry that you're coming from this place of not being able to see the truth or see whatever. So I don't know if any of this is making sense to you. Hopefully it is. But that is what clarity is about. And when you bring more clarity into your life, people that are around you that have always bothered you with their stuff, you come into this place, you come into this alignment with who you truly are in a clear way, in a balanced way, and you do not resonate or vibrate on the same level as those people anymore. And lots of times they'll go away. They'll go away because they're not getting what they used to get. They're not getting the response they got. They're not getting the energetic feed, there were energetic piranhas feeding off of you before. Whereas when you change and become clear and balanced and know who you are, There's nothing for them there. Either they change with you or they go somewhere else to get their needs met and to suck energy from someone else. So, but that inevitably brings you to a higher place, or an expanded place, and hopefully more joy and more peace and more determination to follow the path of who you truly are, who this heart being is that is in this physical body that is you. And ultimately, which is what this whole show is about, is helping you to enjoy your life, helping you to have happiness and joy and be who you truly are. That's why you want to become clear. You don't want all these energy suckers around you. You don't want all these this negative energy coming toward you. Now, if you're one of those people that's sending negative energy out to another, if you're one of the ones that's always judging someone or sending little spurs of comments toward other people, well, this is an opportunity for you then to look at that and just question, well, what does that do for me? Does that do anything for you? Does that help you? And believe me, sometimes that happens to me. Sometimes I'm in a really low energy mode, and I blurt things out, and I wish I hadn't. I'm always putting my foot in my mouth, or I used to always put my foot in my mouth. I'm doing it less and less now because I'm really intending to be clearer and more grounded and walk this place of balance, of being in a happy place, being centered in who I truly am as a compassionate human being, walking this planet with all other human beings. And if you are a Christian and you follow the life of Jesus and you look at all of his teachings and what Jesus did, especially now we're moving into Easter on Sunday, and Jesus was very clear, wasn't he? He had people flocking to him to be taught. He was a teacher, and he taught from his heart. He taught from a philosophy of clarity and balance and knowing from the guidance he received from God, but also knowing that he was God, he is God, and teaching us that if we strive to become clear and connect in and understand that we too are sparks of God. We too have the light, the pure consciousness that is the divine, that Jesus came to teach us. We too can walk that path of the teacher. We too can be of service to humanity, which I believe we all are in our own way, here to be of service, with an open heart, with caring, with compassion and generosity and charity toward others. And so becoming clear is a technique, or is a way, is a practice for helping you to become more like Jesus and more grounded and centered in your path of service, whether that is being of service by driving a truck, being of service working in a grocery store, being of service being a nurse or a doctor, being of service being a healer. I mean, being whatever the profession is, ultimately we are all of service to humanity on some level, in some way. When you look at life this way, you will hopefully see more of who you truly are. See more of your own precious heart, your own beautiful light being, your own beautiful light being. So balance and clarity, again, is about opening the heart to who you truly are and having more compassion, or feeling compassion. And the more I'm understanding in my life, the more I do work on myself or with myself, for myself, not that it's selfish, it's called self-care, the more I do that and align to who I truly am and open my heart during the day and that night and connect in with God in the morning and in the evening and throughout the day in my own way, my own prayer, my own practice. So however that is for you, it is amazing as you become clearer and clearer the balance that you have as you walk down the street, the balance that you have as you do the dishes, as you make your dinner, as you get up in the morning and get dressed, as you do whatever you do in your family, as you do whatever you do in your business and your life profession. You can have more balance by paying attention and making choices that are clear. So, I think we'll do a little singing bowl gong on that one. So breathe. Oh, where did I go? Blip! I did a little disappearing act. You never know what you're going to see. Do you? Or not? What you don't see. It's like reading between the lines, reading between the syllables of a word, reading between the letters, looking at the energy of an M or an O or an A or a B, thinking about how an A is formed, triangle, the energy of that A, and look at how a B is formed, the energy of that, a straight line with two half circles, a B. The symbolism in that. Everything has energy, and it helps us to become clear when we question those things, question these small things. Now, one thing I didn't get into yet that was fascinating this week was the blood moon. The full moon on Tuesday with the eclipse, with the earth moving between the sun and the moon, the earth shadowing the moon, the blood moon, which was red. This is the second of 4 blood moons, and I forget, I'm not really up on all the astrology and all the energy of that. However, you can think about this as an opportunity when the earth shadows the sun, so the moon, which is our spiritual self, our the fluid, the water. You think about the moon and how it controls the water on the earth, the oceans, the tides, the water in our own body. And when the sun is being shadowed by the earth is saying, "Okay, moon, let's take a break from the light. Let's take a break." Take a break. What does that mean? Let's take a break. Let's breathe. Let's be with what is. Let's dive into the shadow. Let's dive into the darkness. What's down in the shadow? What is in the shadow and the darkness? Some people say that some really terrible things might happen down there. Well, the sprouting of seeds have to happen in the darkness of the soil. New beginnings happen in the darkness of the no light. New things can happen. So if you dive into the soil, if you dive into that shadow that the earth is making on the moon, there are all kinds of possibilities there in that shadow, in that darkness, all kinds of possibilities that are germinating that may and probably do change our lives when they come into the light, when the earth then moves away and the light comes back into the moon and that eclipse changes and moves the energy. All those seeds that were planted in that moment of the shadow of the earth on the moon, there's a lot of opportunity there. A lot of opportunity, so much opportunity for new stuff, for seeing yourself in a new light. When you walk into a shadow and come out of the shadow, feel how that might be when you walk into the light from being in a shadow, for being in the darkness. It can be very rejuvenating. It can be very enlightening because you've been in the darkness, and when you walk into the light, you could almost feel like you're going to the light for the first time because it's a new light, because you've been in the shadow for a while. And being in the shadow has given you an opportunity to be quiet, and to hunker in and to go into the womb of the earth, or to go into the cave, to simply be quiet. Even though it might have been for only a few moments when the earth's shadow was covering the moon, or even any time during the new moon cycle when the sun is not shining on the moon and we don't see the moon. New beginnings can happen. So, the blood moon. I've had some people talk to me about the blood moon and some of the positive experiences that have come from it and the positive ahas that have come from this week of these changes, and realizing one of my good friends lost her son in 2003, when there was a blood moon at that time. And she is seeing now the blossoming of coming to fruition of that energy and the positive changes that are happening in her life now that have taken some time, but they're moving into that positive way, of being. So, the blood moon, the full moon, these heavenly bodies do have an effect on us, don't they? And how we look at them is how they affect us. How we look at them is how they affect us. Our own spin on things. Our own spin on things. So, we're moving into the time of the resurrection, the time of the death of Jesus and coming out and going into the cave and coming the 3 days, after 3 days and 3 nights, coming out of the cave and being reborn into the light. The same metaphor as coming out from behind the shadow and being reborn into the light. And from Easter, from this holiday that we celebrate of Jesus being reborn, being rebirthed, coming, not dying, living forever, showing us that we live forever, showing us that we are eternal beings. This is huge. This is so beautiful to know, and to help us to not fear death, to help us to know that we never die, to help us to know that Jesus is here with us, as are all the disciples, as is God, as are all of our loved ones. So it has been a beautifully enlightening time being with you today and talking about clarity, talking about the light, and bringing it around to now, talking about Easter and the fact that Jesus came out of the cave after 3 days and 3 nights, and he lived. He moved the stone from the face of the cave, and he lives, and he lived, and he did that to show us that we are immortal. We live forever, and there's no need to fear death, because death is only a figment of our imagination. And to live your life fully and completely and find that clarity, find that balance, find that truth of who you truly are, and enjoy life more and more and more. So next week, I will have a guest on the show, my good friend Lisa Ouellette, who is the sponsor of New Earth Lifestyles with the Greater Manchester Holistic Meetup Group. And you can find that group online. It's one of the meetup groups that you can Google, Greater Manchester Holistic Meetup Group. Lisa Ouellette is a psychic and a medium, and being a psychic and a medium, she speaks with people on the other side. So mediumship is a practice of connecting with physical beings who have crossed over, who have died, who have shed their physical body, as Jesus did, and have come back into who do not die, but they mediums vibrate on a level where they can communicate with these people, and helping us again to acknowledge that we never died, to acknowledge the eternal life that we live, the eternal vibration, the soul of who we are, the spirit of who we are. So, Lisa, I'm looking forward to you coming on next week. And I thank you for being with me today. It's been a lovely time. And happy Easter, and happy Easter Bunny. Make some Easter eggs. And I don't know where that tradition came from with Easter Bunny and bunnies having eggs. But anyway, be well, do good work, and remember, your heart knows the way. See you next time.